doesn't cost you your job. It's Friday, we're live, and it's time for the last leg. Tonight on our 299th episode, we kick off about the new migrant bill, blow the whistle on Stanley Johnson's knighthood, and support more disabilities on television. Plus, we'll be joined by actor David Harewood and comedians Chris McCausland and Maisie Adam on the show that always puts the news in the back of the net. Welcome to The Last Leg, the show that would like to officially announce it will not be hosting Match of the Day tomorrow. With me as always are the pride of Dartmoor, Josh Whittingham, and the man who thought HS2 was the sequel to High School Musical, Alex Brocker! It has turned out to be quite an enormous day for news today, but before we cover it, it's a special night here for us at The Last Leg. It's our 299th episode. Most shows would celebrate their 300th, but we thought it was more appropriate for us to celebrate one less.
299, which means now I've officially done more last legs than dropped things that have been thrown to me.
And look, the reason we're all dressed differently is that we all had different interpretations of the direction dress for a classy party. I've gone black tie, Josh has gone blazer, Alex is Magnum PI.
Look, I appreciate I look like I'm about to smuggle some dinosaur embryos out of Jurassic Park. But you screwed me over. You were meant to wear the Superman t-shirt and you were going to be Sloth and I was going to be Chunk.
It looks like we've gone to a funeral and Alex is celebrating the life of the person.
By the way, you boys know I got this shirt a couple of series ago to wear on the show.
Yeah.
But then the Queen passed away and I wasn't obviously I wasn't going to wear it after that.
Yeah.
So this was my first chance. I've been waiting for like a break, a good opportunity to
Alex, you look like a man that is killed in the first scene of Murder in Paradise. It's an exciting celebration.
Do you mean Death in Paradise?
I mean Death in Paradise. No. I will not accept. I am on strike. I will not say the real name of a BBC show. Thank you very much. No, it's 299. It's a big celebration. Coincidentally, genuinely, today is my wife Rose's 40th birthday.
Yes.
And so, quite an awkward situation earlier on when obviously I bought her lots of presents and she, for this, had got me fuck all. Absolutely livid.
I do like that. You know there's a saying, dress for the job you want?
Yeah.
It looks like you want to be Ace Ventura Pet Detective. And look, in keeping with the class of the evening, all of our music tonight is being played by the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra with the incredible Felix Kleeser on French horn. Fact, until tonight, Alex thought a French horn was something you get on a night out in Paris. Right now, though, let's celebrate 299 episodes of The Last Leg with a little video.
Well, yo, right now, kick the bass for them brothers and let them know what it
It was Superhuman Saturday today. Slip on your tracksuit, slap yourself in the face, down a protein shake. It's time for The Last Leg.
I'ma leave it at that. That ain't got nothing to do with rap. Shut the bats, expose those cats. Those is heroes take advantage of blacks. The government's gangsters, so cut the crap. A war going on, so where y'all at? Fight the power, cause take responsibility. Ask the police, who's stopping you from killing me?
It's Friday, we're live, and it's time for The Last Leg.
If it's science, then we believe in TV.
I absolutely love that I dressed so much smarter for the first episode when I wanted to make a good impression.
It's going to be amazing when they add the 300th one, hosted by Gary Lineker.
As always, we're going to do our best to answer your big questions this week. Tweet them to us at The Last Leg. Use the hashtag #IsItOK. For example, is it okay that last weekend I did go to Paris and I offered to smuggle stuff back into the country in my prosthetic leg? Yes, it is. Michael then tweeted to say, is it okay my son said Adam would be a literal bootlegger? I did go to Paris last weekend. I did promise to smuggle stuff back for the boys, but to be honest, I didn't bring anything back. I kind of got a little bit distracted by what Paris had to offer.
Okay.
Here's what happened.
You didn't find any cucumbers.
It was like the porn the Dolmio puppets watch.
All right, let's get into the big news now. My goodness, things have taken a turn today. Simon Bowles said, is it okay that Gary Lineker's opinion on the Stop the Boats fiasco seems to have generated more headlines than the actual Stop the Boats fiasco? So, I mean, if you've missed it all, how? But here's what's happened so far this week. The government unveiled what they're calling an illegal migration bill. BBC presenter Gary Lineker criticised it in a tweet. He's now been asked to stand down from presenting Match of the Day, and some of his colleagues have walked out in solidarity. Honestly, this is the most excited Alex has been about a story in 299 episodes. Would only be better if Duncan from Blue gave his opinion.
To be honest with you, it won't be long before they ask Duncan to host it.
Now, we'll get to the Lineker bit in a second, but as Simon said, all this has generated more headlines than the actual bill. So let's start with that. This week, the government introduced new legislation to Parliament, which would mean that people who arrive in the UK in breach of border control on small boats seeking asylum can be immediately detained and must be swiftly removed by the Home Secretary. They would then be banned from re-entering, regardless of whether their claims to asylum were legitimate. The bill was unveiled with this shocking poster, which looks like it was designed by Voldemort's graphics team. I love the way, by the way, it emphasises the words detained, removed, banned, denied, and stopped. It's like a more problematic Henry VIII.
Nothing wrong with Henry VIII, mate. Don't have a go at my relative, thank you very much.
Detained, removed, banned, denied, and stopped sounds like when I used to go to Tiger in Leeds.
It's an interesting choice of camera angle, isn't it? Where Rishi Sunak's gone, can you take a photo where to you it looks like you're giving me a blowjob and I'm not enjoying it? You won't get that image out of your head now, I'll tell you that for free.
Rishi Sunak gave his speech this week while looking like he was using his dad's podium.
He looks like he's going down a pipe in Super Mario World.
I've heard that the Tories want to stop boats so much they're actually proposing a ban on people doing oops upside your head.
In unveiling his policy, the Prime Minister said the situation has got far more worse. That's a quote. Not only does that ignore the basic rules of grammar, it also ignores the fact that the Tories have been in charge for the past 13 years. At this stage, Rishi Sunak's walk-on music should be this.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me.
Lads, what do we make of it this week?
Well, it's tough, isn't it, for a TV presenter to express their feelings on it? So I would say that Suella Braverman is a woman of intelligence, humanity.
Yeah.
And there's no way that she's the worst Home Secretary we've ever had. And we've had Priti Patel.
I'll be honest with you, I regret wearing this shirt even more now. I think that Suella Braverman strikes me as the sort of person who's the only person who thought there were too many small boats at the end of Titanic.
The language is horrible, the policy is horrible.
Yep.
And Alex's shirt is horrible.
It feels like the last roll of the dice for them.
Yeah.
The way that this is where the government are kind of going to try and aim kind of to win people back now.
Yeah. And so it's interesting because once again the government have used a 3-word slogan to try to win over voters. We've had Get Brexit Done, we've had Take Back Control, and for most of Boris Johnson's leadership, it wasn't me. Stop the Boats is kind of like the British version of Donald Trump's Build the Wall, which, if you remember, was completely unachievable and was blamed on the woke lefties when it didn't happen. Now, a similar thing might happen here, because on the first page of the legislation, Suella Braverman was forced to admit that the bill may not be compatible with the European Convention on Human Rights. So the government want to introduce legislation that may not be legal. And they're already blaming lefties for stopping it. There was an email released this week by the Conservatives attributed to Suella Braverman which said previous attempts to enact similar legislation were stopped by, quote, an activist blob of left-wing lawyers, civil servants and the Labour Party.
I think that activist blob sounds like someone you're going to see on a series of Masked Singer. I think it's Shane Ritchie.
So let's get back to our original tweet. All of this has been overshadowed by the outrage aimed at former football presenter Gary Lineker, who tweeted that the policy was, quote, immeasurably cruel, and compared the language used to announce it as, quote, not dissimilar to that used by Germany in the 30s. Today, the BBC have said they consider Lineker's tweet to be a breach of their guidelines and have decided that he will step back from presenting Match of the Day until they've got an agreed and clear position on his use of social media. Now, this story has been changing by the second. A number of his colleagues tonight have expressed solidarity with Lineker. If you don't want to know who else has pulled out of Match of the Day, look away now. Ian Wright and Alan Shearer have stepped down. Alex Scott tweeted a GIF that said, nah, and according...
Mika Richards?
Sorry?
Mika Richards?
Well, they now have no presenters. The BBC have announced that Match of the Day will go ahead tomorrow with no presenters.
Shall we do it? Us three. We've got chemistry, two of us like football, like... no one's going to turn on the... I think, should we do it?
No.
No. Let's not. I was joking. Let's not do it.
And so it's possible, though, that some Premier League footballers might even boycott the interviews afterwards.
Yep.
And
which will be a real loss because they're really good value.
And so the association behind the footballers has said that if they're fine, they'll support them as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
I won't be watching Arsenal play Sunday. It's incredible. They've made such a mess of this.
Yeah.
The BBC, because no one, like, if they get rid of Gary Lineker, no one can step in to that job. Like, no one with any sort of reputation could go in and host Match of the Day. Like, I mean, well, I never thought I'd see Prince Andrew back on the BBC. They might end up having to show repeats of it.
It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable story. My view would be Gary Lineker is a sports presenter.
Yeah.
He talks about sport. He doesn't talk about politics, except at the start of the Qatar World Cup, when, in agreement with the BBC, he talks about politics.
Yes,
right?
yeah.
If you don't want to know Gary Lineker's views on politics, don't follow him on Twitter. That's what I don't want to know Piers Morgan's views on politics. I don't follow him on Twitter. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's my view on it. He also, you should only talk about sport. But he is a human being who votes in this country. Just because he talks about sport doesn't mean he doesn't have a right to talk about politics. That's what I think.
Yeah. We're ignoring the fact that the geezer in charge of the BBC helped Boris Johnson get alone. The geezer who's gone to him, I don't think you should be involved like that.
It's mad. And also, bear in mind, 3 years ago, they let him present an episode in his fucking pants. And this is the line they draw. Like, it's bizarre, it's weird, it looks really bad on the BBC, it looks really bad on the government, and it looks really good on Gary Lineker, who, let's be honest, could go to lots of other channels and do his job. So it doesn't really matter to Gary
I
Lineker.
genuinely don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know how they're going to...
I think it's hilarious as an Australian to think that the British government could be brought down by a football commentator.
Well, isn't that the most British thing that can
It's the
happen?
most British thing at all. They can't find anyone to present now. David Beckham must be watching all of this unfold thinking, well, I am more than happy to represent an oppressive regime.
Can I just say though, genuinely, Adam, I wanted to say something, especially on this, the 299th episode, that if Channel 4 genuinely ever took you off air for something you tweeted, I would stand in solidarity with Josh and do the show.
Lorraine Kelly's good. No.
I'll be honest, Alex. Bearing in mind you have a prosthetic, I don't think standing in solidarity is your strong suit.
I thought that was going to be a lot more horrible.
The reporting of all this week led to an accidentally awkward moment on
this is
BBC
brilliant.
News involving a very illustrative sign interpreter.
Do you know what? He's been sacked as well.
So Lineker's problem this week was with the language used by the government, and some of it was inflammatory. Suella Braverman said there are 100 million people estimated to be displaced around the world. That's true. She added, let's be clear, they are coming here. She later said there could be billions. Meanwhile, both Braverman and Sunak kept referring to those arriving in boats as illegal, knowing full well that there's nothing illegal about seeking asylum in another country, regardless of how you arrive. Once again, though, this week, Rishi Sunak is being shunted to the side by other stories. Poor old Last week it was Matt Hancock's WhatsApp messages. This week it's Gary Lineker's tweets. What's next? Rita Ora on Instagram? Today the Prime Minister crossed the channel to agree a new deal with French President Macron that will see more police on French beaches and a new detention centre in the north of France. The PM's day began with what looked like the least relaxing train journey ever.
There is an irony in him being on a packed channel crossing. But do you not think he looks so small? It's like I think on a packed train when you see a child on their own seat and you go, that kid could sit on someone's lap.
Rishi Sunak's going, look, for the last time, I'm not going in the overhead compartment. Come on. Just out of shot, Jeremy Corbyn sat on the floor. That's the worst.
This was meant to be Rishi's big day. It was supposed to signify a reset of relationships with France. In fact, Sunak said Macron is a great friend and that he wanted to write a new chapter in the relationship. Have a look at the moment they met today. Check out how keen they both were to be friends with each other. There's Rishi walking up. Let's shake hands. Yes, let me hold your shoulder. I'll put my hand on your hand. Well, I'll put my hand on your hand. Let's keep shaking as we walk. Now it's got awkward. We've taken a fight. We're still shaking. How about I put my hand on your back? There you go. Well, I'll put my hand on your back. Quick, stop. Pose for a photo. Let's look like we're friends. There we go. Should we even shake hands? Yeah, we probably should. No, let's just wave. No, let's shake hands. Okay. How about we walk off and pat each other on the back again? That's good. Yeah, nice work.
The only time someone's held my hand for that long, they were examining it.
The whole basis for this week's legislation is that we have a migrant crisis. But do we? We've quoted these statistics at you before, but the UK has less asylum applications per head of population than most EU countries. And a lot of those countries that take in more refugees actually have stronger economies at the moment. Immigrants are more likely to pay tax, less likely to claim benefits from people than people who are born here. And on top of all that, there's a shortage in the labour market at the moment, particularly at Match of the Day. But the thing is, we've said all this before, and the problem is we're running out of ways to call out the bullshit. Do you remember a few years back we started off with this button?
Bullshit.
We then asked satirist Armando Iannucci to come up with a few more, and he gave us...
A turd the size of Disneyland Paris. A shite in shining armour.
And...
Thomas the Wank Engine.
I'm just not sure these can do the job anymore. Like, we need a bigger bullshit button. So look, there's an election looming next year. We asked Armando Iannucci to record a few new versions to put on the bullshit buttons to describe the blizzard of bullshit we're currently facing. He's an angry man. He gave us a lot, and I mean a lot. Okay. On a voice note, he recorded all these on a voice note. This is just a selection of what Armando sent to us.
Bollocks and gravy. Tall sailing shits. Excrement-ageddon. Shit-nammy. The most bureaucratically unworkable and poorly costed set of policy initiatives since Nazi Germany. A pile of human mess. A heifer's turd. Schitzkrieg. A kayak of crap. Shite armada. Dung in a dinghy. A shatamaran.
So look, we've narrowed it down to our favourite four, and we'd like you to choose which one is most appropriate. Our favourite four were bollocks and gravy, excrement-ageddon, the most bureaucratically unworkable and poorly costed set of policy initiatives since Nazi Germany, and a shattermoran. Our poll for tonight is this: what should our new bullshit button be? We've tweeted that from our account. We've tweeted the poll out. All you need to do is vote. We'll recap it later in the show and we'll change one of the buttons. Right, let's welcome tonight's guests. A podcaster, an actor and a blind comedian walked into a bar. One of them literally walked into a bar. Please welcome Maisie Adam, David Harewood and Chris McCausland. Welcome to you all. Maisie, that was wonderful that you walked out with Chris. I don't know if you noticed, though, you did still point.
I did. I popped that. I popped that. I was like, we're going to walk round to the right here, and then pointed, and then went, you've just pointed at a blind man on live TV. Yeah, you wouldn't have known if you hadn't said it.
Didn't have a clue. I mean, what a week for you all to come on. Let's start with the migrant bill. Maisie, I'm going to go down the line. Maisie?
It's this whole thing with like Gary. It's. I agree with you, Josh. Like it's so ridiculous. Kind of going. Oh, you can have these. The BBC statement said that you can have these opinions, but you can't. You can't sort of like make it side with a political issue. But it's not a political issue. It's right or wrong. It's a moral issue. And also, he's not saying it on Match of the Day. He's not going. We start tonight at Ellen Road with Brighton versus Leeds, but first, that language is like Nazi German. Anyway, Guy Mowbray was there. And then also, you've got like the government saying things like, well, did you see this speech that Penny Mordaunt did? Going like, did you see it?
Rubbish.
Like, never has it been so obvious that somebody doesn't watch football. They said, they were trying to do this analogy. They were like, yeah, Gary Lineker's just basically, he's like one of these, she said, he's like a goal hanger.
Well, no, she described Labour as being like Gary Lineker and being goal hangers.
But being a goal hanger.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I've watched football all my life. I've never heard anyone say a goal hanger. Mm-hmm. Do you think when Penny Mordaunt scores a goal, she's like, back of the goal string? It's so stupid.
It's like when you ask Siri what the football score is and it kind of tells you like 4 points to Liverpool.
Yeah, it's so bad. And also for Penny Mordaunt to sit there and go, like, Gary should stick to just talking about football and stick to his job. That's his job. Penny Mordaunt went on Splash. Like, how are you going to have a pop at someone?
Chris, we're going to go down the line. Chris?
I mean, what did he say? Gary Lineker, he called it dog whistle language, didn't he? I'd never even heard of that before. And I mean, it would be good if only dogs could hear it, though, wouldn't it? You'd be like, what's the Braverman saying? I don't know, but that Afghan hound looks disgusting. My problem with it was that, like, I mean, Gary. Like, it was the Hitler-Nazi thing. It's Godwin's law. That's what it is, right?
Yes.
Godwin's law is when somebody kind of brings an argument down to the base level of Hitler and Nazi comparisons, you kind of lose the argument by default. And my problem with Godwin's law is every time someone does that, I have to Google what the name of the law was. Because it's just it's a word that doesn't really reflect what it is. And you go, oh yeah, it was Godwin's law, wasn't it? So I've got a new name for it, which I think describes exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm. Shattermoran.
It's a little bit wordy, but it's misjudged assertions that trade Hitler and Nazi comparisons over constructive knowledge. It does say what it is, but the only problem with that is the acronym is Matt Hancock. I think he's got enough on his plate at the minute.
David, your thoughts?
The whole thing's just awful and actually a massive distraction from what this government has actually been doing.
Yes.
We're all here. We are talking about a footballer's tweet, and really what we should be talking about is the language of our Home Secretary. And for me personally, I think she's bang out of order, and I can't wait to vote them out in a couple of years. That's what I think.
Starmer should just have his podium and he should have his 3-word slogan and then for the election, and the 3-word slogan should just be, oh, fuck off.
I'm just hearing we've been taken off air. But look, I mean, there is going to be a general election next year, and as we head towards it, I think it's fair to say there are a lot of problems facing Britain right now, and they are complex. The government says there's a problem with the boats that needs to be fixed, but you're right, David, it does feel like they're using the issue as a distraction. It's almost as if they want us standing on the cliffs of Dover looking out through binoculars so we can't see what's going on behind us. And look, seeing as we've got an orchestra here, we're going to use them to demonstrate what we're talking about. Right, so the situation in Britain right now is nuanced. It's intricate, it's complex, and there's a lot that needs fixing. For example, the NHS has had 10 years of austerity, a pandemic, an ageing population, and a shortage of people available to work. Energy prices are going through the roof. Inflation is rising, people are struggling to pay their bills, and the cost of living is increasing. On top of that, the last budget that was handed down backfired so badly it caused a massive hole in the economy. Now, when you put all of this together, there are a whole bunch of things that need addressing in Britain right now. But rather than focusing on all that, it feels like the government want to distract you by doing this. Unfortunately for Suella Braverman, it's entirely possible the whole thing is illegal anyway. We make honours honourable again, plus we want to know which of Armando Iannucci's phrases should be our new bullshit button. The options are bollocks and gravy, excrement-ageddon, the most bureaucratically unworkable and poorly costed set of policy initiatives since Nazi Germany, or a shatamaran. All you have to do is answer the poll we've tweeted out. We'll have the result for you at the end of the show. See you soon! Welcome back to the 299th episode of Last Leg. We're joined by Maisie Adam, Chris McCausland and David Harewood. There are rumours now that there might not even be commentators on Match of the Day tomorrow.
The only good that can come of this now is if the VAR operators stand in solidarity with Gary Lineker.
I don't know. That's it. Is anyone else thinking Keys and Gray coming back?
While we're talking about the language and what the language does to people, during the ad break, I just got a whole bunch of messages to my official fan Facebook page from one person, and I'm going to read these out to you. I don't even know if it's because of what we were talking about. These might just be general messages that someone's just sent to me, but it happened at 10:22. It starts with, "What a fucking asshole you are. Australia shit, you are a fucking wanker, you fucking Aussie C-word. What a fucking asshole you are, you stupid C-word. You are a shit comedian, you fucking wanker, Australian wanker. Tell that cripple he is a C-word."
Is
So
that last bit,
Yeah.
is that talking about you?
So, Suella Braverman, Rishi Sunak, if you're wondering what your language does to people,
Exactly.
that's just happened in real time. Thanks a lot.
It's good to get another sign up to the fan page, I think.
I mean, it's entirely possible that's someone from my childhood going, I don't even watch the show. Look, let's move on to more fun things. Maisie, look, you've just come here from a show tonight.
Yeah, I literally came off stage in Leicester Square at 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
and then there was a motorbike, yes, waiting for me,
Yeah.
and then I just got on it. I actually didn't check if it was the right motorbike. I just got on. I was so excited by the fact that I was on him, and then he wasn't shy. Honestly, he floored it.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't put my visor down, so my eyes all watered up. So when he dropped me off, I think he thought I was like the biggest wimp ever. He was like, "Have a good show," and I was like, "Thank you so much."
Now, Chris, you're on tour as well.
Yes,
And the
mate.
final show's being filmed where? It's been filmed for Channel 4, right?
Yeah. So it'll be the 142nd show of the tour will be the last
Wow.
one. Shepherd's Bush Empire in May, but I've got a couple of months left all over the place before then, filming it for Channel 4, mate. So and it's the last show as well. So if I fuck it up, we can't do it again.
And look, you've also got a new show coming out on Channel 4.
Yes.
Okay, tell us what it is.
It's a travel show because there's not enough of them on the telly at the minute. It's a travel show, basically. It's called The Wonders of the World I Can't See. Because it's the wonders of the world and I can't see. It's like the Ron Seal quick drawing wood stain of TV show titles. And basically what it is, I never really saw what's the point of me going to like go somewhere to just like look at the thing that everyone goes to look at. And if someone's going to like describe the wonder to me, they might as well come round my house and do it from a book. So the idea was that different people, funny people, Harry Hill, Tom Allen, Gus Kahn, Lisa Tarbuck, we'd go somewhere and they would prove to me that it was worth getting off my arse and going to these places, and it was a proper laugh, to be honest, mate.
Well, and we've got a little clip, a little promo for it.
My name's Chris McCausland and I am travelling to the wonders of the world I can't see.
It is huge.
Like proper massive.
Somebody's done this with a chisel.
I'm blind, so what's the point?
Imagine a shoebox, but instead of the sides of the shoebox, you've got columns.
Like an ancient gazebo. So when Channel 4 offered me my own travel show, I thought they were taking the piss. It's got disaster written all over it. But no, they're packing me up with 4 of my funniest mates to see if they can convince me that it really is worth me getting off my arse after all. We are going to find out if there's more to these places than just what they look like. I'm floating for the first time in my life and experience the wonders of the world I can't see. There is nothing funnier in this world than being in 35-degree heat with Tom Allen still insisting on wearing a suit. I was like, for God's sake, Tom, have a day off.
Good luck with the show. It's coming out on Channel 4. Let's talk honours now. Magrat said, is it okay that Boris Johnson has recommended his father Stanley for a knighthood? Now, after giving... what a week of news! After giving his brother Joe a peerage in 2020, Boris Johnson is reportedly considering giving his father Stanley a knighthood. Is this okay? Who wants to go first? Alex.
So he gave his brother a peerage.
Yeah.
And then last November,
Yeah.
he nominated his old man for the knighthood.
Yes, it was last November, it turns out, yeah.
I mean, that's got Christmas present written all over it, isn't it? When I just get everyone vouchers in my family.
He nominated his sister Rachel for the Blonde d'Or as well, didn't he? And he nominated himself for Rear of the Year, which I thought was a bit much.
David, you've got an OBE, so how do you feel about...
I haven't got it yet. I haven't picked it up yet.
Okay, right.
But I will pick it up later in the year.
How do you feel, though, about the possibility that Stanley Johnson could be given a knighthood?
Well, I'm conflicted about the whole thing, really. I mean, the whole thing really it is confusing for me when you get these awards from the monarchy, from the royalty, it does kind of stir up, particularly it's that word empire. For me.
Yeah.
Obviously, it brings up all sorts of strange connotations, so it was nice to get it, but it still makes me feel queasy.
Mm-hmm. Chris?
I mean, Stanley Johnson's gropes a lot.
Yes.
Allegedly. Whatever happened to just buying your dad a mug with world's best dad on it? This is a man that created Boris Johnson. You can't reward him for that.
Amazing.
Yeah, well, just exactly. It's embarrassing, but it's also just painfully on brand for him, isn't it? Just self-serving, looking out for his mates, looking out for those in his close circle, and not actually awarding it to people who've earned it and to people that have done it. It devalues it. I think it devalues.
I feel the same way. And David, look, I feel like he's now devalued my MBE because look, I went.
Oh, here we blow.
Because you get a letter, and it says, this recommendation has been made by the Prime Minister. So mine was actually recommended by Boris Johnson.
Oh.
So I now feel the same way about my MBE as Alex feels about his Yeezys. I feel the same. I feel like it's been devalued. So this week I've tried to make my MBE feel like it's worth something. So I've got it, but I've put it in a Tiffany's case. I've been playing Lizzo to it. I've even bought it, I don't know if you can see this, I've even bought it a convertible. There you go.
You're trying to give it value, not guide it through a divorce.
The way bloody Josh mocks you for mentioning your MBE. How many times does he mention this bloody Henry VIII? Every opportunity.
Self-worth isn't just on the surface, though. It's about helping others. So what I've done is this. I've set up a Just Giving page in the name of my MBE. And since it was International Women's Day this week, all funds are going to charities that support women. Now, we've chosen 3. They are Wellbeing of Women, who save and change the lives of women through research, education and advocacy. The Helen Bamber Foundation, who support victims of torture, trafficking and human rights violations. And Rights of Women, who ensure that all women understand the law and their legal rights. If Boris Johnson thinks it's appropriate to give his father an honour, I'm going to use my honour to raise money for charities that support women. And don't worry, it's just a one-off. We've just tweeted a link to that page from our Twitter account. We'd love you to retweet it as often as you can tonight. Maybe, if you can, chip in and help those charities out. Let's make honours honourable again.
Yes.
We'll have more Last Leg for you after the break as we wheelchair a discussion about disability representation on TV. Plus, we want to know what phrase should be on our new bullshit button. The options are bollocks and gravy.
This ends been so long.
Excrement again, and the most bureaucratically unworkable and poorly costed set of policy initiatives since Nazi Germany, or a Shatterman. Answer the poll we've just tweeted out. We'll have the result at the end of the show. See you in a little bit. We're joined by Maisie Adam, Chris McCausland, David Harewood. Look, you know, before the break I told you about a post I got on social media and how angry I was about it. To be fair, I should have stuck to having a go at the person because we don't know that this came from any politician. So it's entirely possible that I should have just attacked the person. So that was kind of unfair. I apologise for that. But what's been lovely is the amount of people who've then sent tweets saying they do not support that kind of language. Absolutely. And it's just been overwhelming. So thank you to all the people who have sent Facebook messages already.
There's a horrible moment then when I thought you were going to open another part by reading abuse about yourself.
Also, the Just Giving page that we set up to fund the women's charities has already raised over £3,000. Oh, wow. Just in the course of that bit alone. What a night. What a roller coaster this show has been. And of course, we do have an orchestra here for our 299th episode, led by the amazing Felix Kleeser. So, Felix, can you come over and join us, please? Because we do want to have a bit of fun. Now, you do have an album out as well. You, of course, play the French horn. My first question, how difficult is it to play the French horn with your feet?
Oh, it's a very good question because, you know, I never tried to play the French horn with hands. So.
What do you see?
But you know, I have to also to say, I think I'm the first and maybe the only guy who ever tried to play the French horn with the feet, and so the result is not so bad. So maybe it's more difficult to play it with hands.
I know, Alex.
I don't know. Maybe.
Alex has a question.
Yeah, Felix, the thing I wanted to know is kind of how did you end up getting into it? Because if somebody said to me, "Do you want to go and have a go at the French horn?" I'd be like, "Are you taking a piss?"
Yeah.
So like, how did you like kind of end up doing it?
It's a normal French horn. You know, everyone who can play the French horn can play this horn. So the most difficult thing is you have to practice, and when you practice, this helps a lot. So there's no adaptation, nothing. It's a normal instrument.
But did you kind of go into it thinking like, obviously, there's stuff that I don't do because I think, well, I just assume I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
How did you kind of overcome that? Did you just someone go, "Do you want to give this a go?" Or
sorry, once again.
How did you kind of end up doing it? Because to me, I wouldn't go to do that because I'd assume I couldn't.
Well, you know, when I started, when you start something to play, then it's just a hobby, and it's just for fun. And I never had the idea to become a professional home player. So this comes much, much later. So for the beginning, it's just fun. And when you have fun and when you enjoy something, then it's easy.
How do you move just one toe?
Well, so everyone thinks, you have to think, everyone thinks, I can move every toe separate, but it's not possible. So they are connected. So first one and the rest is connected with the other ones.
Yeah. And now, look, this is a show that is always looking for new prosthetics, and there's one that's been invented that allows that might actually help Alex. We found this thing this week that allows the user to have a third thumb. So it's a prosthetic that attaches to your hand and forefingers, and you can see from this picture.
I mean, look, it's amazing, but I'm going to put it out there right now.
Yeah.
If you've only got 4 fingers, and that's the first time with a full hand, the first thing you are doing is not getting a Satsuma.
Well, that's the thing. We wanted to use.
We're running short of time. Let's move on.
We did try and get one in the studio, but the owners were worried that we would do something inappropriate with it.
I go through 3 a week.
It also turns out our microphones interfere with the wireless connection of the thumb, which means you can have a thumb like that and you're sitting at home and it's doing this and your friends are like, what's going on? You're like, sorry, it's buffering. Walking around the house like this going, I'm just trying to get reception. But it did give us an idea for Alex this week. We made him his very own thumb. Alex, would you like to tell us what you got up to with it?
Yeah, so basically, on Monday after 299 episodes of The Last Leg, I wanted to show Josh just how much appreciation I've got for him. So, I gave him my first ever thumbs up. There we are. Tuesday, first time ever being able to suck a thumb. I'm telling you now, I slept like a bloody baby. Wednesday, woke up absolutely full of beans. Hitched a lift to work. Thursday, word had got round that, I could pose pretty sexily now. My thumb's in there. I did a bit of modelling for Littlewoods. And today, I thought I'd do the big one. You're looking at the World Thumb War Champion 2023. There we go.
We'll have more last week for you after the break as Josh wraps up the last 7 days and Felix and the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra help us celebrate our 299th episode. We'll see you in a little bit. Welcome back to Last League. We're joined by Maisie Adam, Chris McCausland and David Harewood. The Just Giving page for charities that support women has now raised over 12,000. Very briefly, in embarrassing Australian news this week, an MP by the name of Susan Ley dressed as Tina Turner to raise money for charity. I mean, Australian politics is a lot different to British politics, isn't it? Lovely gesture. It led to this jarring photo.
Oh, fantastic.
I just thought that was regular Australian hair.
Josh has been honouring the last 7 days. What have you got for us?
I've got 2 great clips. First from this week. Would you like to see a hilarious clip of a cool cat styling out a fool?
Yes, please.
Here you go. Here he goes. Oh, being very cute. What could go wrong? Oh, it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be. Do you want to feel old?
Yep.
6 years ago today, it was the day we first saw this iconic clip. This was 6 years ago, and it's still the greatest clip ever.
The question is, how do democracies respond to those scandals?
And what will it mean for the wider region? I think one of your children has just walked in. I mean, shifting sands in the region. Do you think relations with the North may change?
I would be surprised if they do. Pardon me. My apologies.
The region.
My apologies. North Korea.
Before we go, we asked you which one of Armando Iannucci's phrases should be our new bullshit button. I can tell you that with 56% of the vote, our new bullshit button is this.
A Shatamaran.
What do we do for a job? All right, we're about to wrap up our 299th episode with a performance by Felix Kleeser and the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra. But before we do, would you please thank our guests for tonight, Maisie Adam, Chris McCausland, and David Harewood, and my co-host Scott Whittaker, and Alex Brooker. We'll be back next week for our 300th episode with comedians Nish Kumar and Fern Brady. But right now, look, it's been an absolute pleasure presenting 299 episodes of The Last Leg, and we'd like to celebrate in style. Before we cut the cake tonight, Felix Kleeser and the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra are going to take us out with a little bit of class as they perform The Marriage of Figaro by Mozart.
जहिया तोहर समय पूरा हो जाई, जहिया तोहर समय पूरा हो जाई भाई, छोड़ी के शरीरिया तोहरी हनसा उड़ जाई ए भाई, छोड़ी के शरीरिया तोहरी हनसा उड़ जाई, जहिया तोहरी हाथ के लकीर मिट जाई, जहिया तोहरी हाथ के लकीर मिट जाई भाई, छोड़ी के शरीरिया तोहरी हनसा उड़ जाई ए भाई, छोड़ी के शरीरिया तोहरी हनसा उड़ जाई।
Music by Kunal Chhela.
विधि के विधानवा सब होके रही भैया, चाहे कुछ कर नहीं करी सब समैया, करी सब समैया हो, विधि के विधानवा सब होके रही भैया, चाहे कुछ कर नहीं करी सब समैया, करी सब समैया, चाहे केतनो तुहारा मेहर पिया लग जाई, चाहे केतनो तुहारा मेहर पिया लग जाई भाई, छोड़ी के शरीरिया तोहरी हनसा उड़ जाई ए भाई, छोड़ी के शरीरिया तोहरी हनसा उड़ जाई। चल जाइबा दुख सुख देले जबन संगे नाही पाइबा संगे नाही पाइबा गौआ समझावा के छोड़ी चल जाइबा दुख सुख देले जबन संगे नाही पाइबा संगे नाही पाइबा इंसान के तोहारा आवाज ना सुनाई इंसान के तोहारा आवाज ना सुनाई ये भाई छोड़ी के शरीरिया तोहारी हनसा उड़ जाई ए भाई छोड़ी के शरीरिया तोहारी हनसा उड़ जाई
गंगा जल रिकॉर्डिंग स्टूडियो साहेबगंज।
सनु बेदर्दी संगे कुछ पल बिताईला छोड़ी के अकेला भाई तू चल गईला तू चल गईला मखड़ुआ राज से संगे कुछ पल